It's just that the life cycle product's more function rich than anything we could have built ourselves. It allows us to leverage off changes that other institutions are looking for as well. And we will add dual award to this conversation as part of our contribution to that story. So for me, the value is actually in the community itself, in terms of our ability to better manage the governance process is there for us to use. So I think that's where it is. And the fact that we're using it as the source of the truth for the curriculum creates a bit of tension on the process in many ways, in that people can no longer be loose with how they describe things. And so that enforced discipline, I suppose, is important to us, and we're finding that works for us, given that we've now published the handbook twice using that sort of rigour. For us, it's a foundation piece. So, and when we say, I'm talking about life cycle when I say the foundation piece. So, to me, the secret of the challenge is the data, and the quality of the data that you're able to grab at the point of approval or change, as in terms of your academic governance process, allows you to essentially control how you capture the data. So one of the benefits we're starting to see is the ability that we have to, where it's high risk data and you want it to be high quality, that you can put quite tight restrictions around the capture and review of that. When it's less risky, and it may be something to do with some free text around the handbook itself, then you can be less lenient with it. So that flexibility helps. I see the whole life cycle piece as the real foundation piece for us, to get those publishing services to be almost myopic for us, is how I look at it. So if I looked at how we did the handbook 3 years ago, the last time we ever had to do it the old way, it was a torturous process of double handling the data, team after team reviewing data. So it was a horrible manual process that we then recaptured into a content management system and then published. And it's a process that took us 6 months. Today, when we look at, say, the 2020 handbook, which we published back in October, Readiness for our Open Day, it was seamless to us. I mean, there was work that went into it, there was reviews that we did, but the reality of it was a painless exercise for us, where it used to be a painful exercise. And it happened without anybody noticing. So to me, that's, from a strategic perspective, the ability to change some data at the front end and it ripple through and immediately appear in the handbook, which we were never able to do before, allows things like time to market to be a lot faster. And the fact that we now have a solution that renders on any device, is properly branded, and we've just changed our brand again, and we're able to rebrand it very quickly. Just the agility it's giving us, I think, and the fact that it has, a sophisticated search engine for students to interrogate the handbook, is a complete change for us. And it's actually now one of the most hit sites that we have in the university. Probably always was, but we weren't able to add analytics to the site, so we didn't know. We just thought it was, and now we have the proof, which means it gives it profile and gives it credence. I mean, one of the other things is the ability for us to use APIs to surface the information into a range of different sites now. In the past, we would have faculty-based websites that manually went through data and added it themselves and then never maintained it, so got out of date very quickly and wasn't current, wasn't correct. And now we don't have that problem. We've moved away. So for me, there's around the product itself being trustworthy, if that makes the right sense. So whatever we publish in the handbook is as accurate as we can make it. And it's gone through that whole validation process at the governance phase to make sure it is right, so that we then just literally push the button and publish it, right? And the fact that we've got versioning so that we can have a 2020 handbook and a 2021, and that's really, really easy for us to do. So it has all that technical luxury. I mean, the fact that we implemented a trimester calendar, which, when you think about it, you're adding cycle times 3 times rather than 2 times, right? So for a lot of people in faculties and schools and in the centre, in the divisions in the centre, you know, you're running processes more often. So those processes aren't driven by student numbers, they're driven by just the numbers of times you've got to do them, right? So the benefit we have of releasing people from that horrible editing process that we used to have is that they're able to work on more productive things now, because the new calendar model is more demanding on our teams in terms of process. So, and we did increase the numbers of teams and all that sort of stuff. But this just gives us that luxury of just more capacity, I suppose, in terms of people's availability. And obviously it's the productivity benefits that we generated through in that process, through the handbook, that's enabled it. So it's been fantastic.